there guys, welcome to the meat shop. Thanks for clicking on. This video is part of a special video series inspired by you guys. I've been asked before for a recipe or sausage book, which I don't have, so I thought I would share my favorite book with you, which is Home Production of Quality Meats and Sausage by Stanley and Adam Marianski. It is my favorite book. I think it's got great information in there for beginners and experts alike. And to celebrate my favorite book, I reached out to Stanley Marianski and he gave me permission to do Marianski March. So we're going to do a recipe out of this book every day of March. And all the recipes and all the processes are right out of the book, which will be in the link below. That is, a link to the book will be in the description down below. So without any further ado, let's get into Marianski March. Hey there guys, welcome to another day of Marianski March. Today we're doing City Head Cheese, or Head Cheese City, page 341 if you have the book and you're following along. Reading from the book, a direct quote: head cheese, also known as brawn or sous, is a jellied meat sausage that is stuffed into large diameter casings, or it can be placed in a form becoming a jellied meat loaf. Traditionally made head cheese incorporated meats which were rich in collagen required to produce the natural gelatin, broth, that after cooking became a jelly. The best meat was highly flavored pork head meat and pork legs and feet, otherwise known as the hocks. A person living in a large city may not be able to find these cuts anymore, but intelligent substitutions can be easily made by buying commonly available carried supermarket meats. That's not a direct quote anymore. I got that backwards a little bit. The final product will be of very high quality, yet much easier to make. The easiest way to make head cheese is to think in terms of cooking a heavy meat broth, which will be stuffed into casings. So I'm going to follow the process right from the book here. I have 2 pork hocks, which we're going to pop in this pot of water and simmer for 3 hours until the meat peels off the bone. Then we'll chop it up, and hopefully, since I'm using pork hocks, I don't intend on using any gelatin. I have some as a backup if I need it. I'm going to take these pork hocks, which is 1.5 kilograms roughly. So I thought once you minus the weight of the bone, I'm going to have about a 1 kilogram batch. Boil them in the water using Stan and Adam's recipe. Got a little bit of carrots and the spice mix right from the book. So let's get that process started. These in here and just cover them with a little bit of water. Okay there guys, we got our 2 pork hocks in there. We're going to add some bay leaf and carrot, and if you're following along in the book, you'll know I'm missing that celery. I'm not really big on celery though. So there we go guys. Then we're just going to put a bit of water on top just to cover them. Awesome, look at that. Then just a little pinch of salt and pepper. Perfect. Now I'm going to move him over to the burner and we're going to cook him for a couple hours just under a boil. All right guys, let's get her fired up here. I really like head cheese because it's really simple. It doesn't require a bunch of equipment. Pop that on there and we'll let it simmer away for 3 hours. We'll come back and check on it. And let's not forget our cover for the 3 hours. Here we are guys, it's 1 hour into the city head cheese, and it's just a bit above a simmer, a little bit below rolling boil, and that's where I've had it at for the last hour. So I'll give it another hour, up to 2 more hours I guess, and we'll just see if that meat's coming off the bone easy. We're done. Okay guys, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's been about 3 hours and we've been simmering those pork hocks the whole time. So I'm going to pull them out, set them aside because we're going to pull that meat off of there and shred it up for our head cheese, and then strain this liquid, and it should hopefully gel up for us. So I'm going to pull that over to the other counter and do that now. There it is, the steaming, yummy looking pot of head cheese. So now I'm just going to take those, oh yeah, it's going to fall right off, pork hocks out. And place them in a clean stainless steel container because they're fully cooked now. Don't want to be cross-contaminating it with raw meat. Yeah, see how it's kind of pulled away from that bone there? going to be good. Not sure if there's any little chunks of meat in there that fell off. That smells good. Now it says to run through a strainer, and we'll save that liquid. I don't have a strainer, I realized, at the meat shop. So I'm going to do my best to pour it off. I anticipate I'll burn myself. There we go. That's what we needed to do. So we're going to save this liquid. And if you guys were using hams or picnics or pork butts or something at this point instead of hocks, this is the point the recipe says you can add your gelatin. And you know what? I might just add that gelatin just in case, just to make sure. I'm really curious to know if it would do it without it. Not very much, because I feel like it's going to be good. But yeah, you can just buy pre-packaged gelatin. Sprinkle a little bit in there. Okay, I didn't measure it. Just stir it in. How do those carrots taste? Look at those guys. Those are little treats. I'm not sure if those are supposed to go into the head cheese after or not. I better read. I'm eating this one though. Oh. So guys, it doesn't say that the carrots go in there, so I'm going to keep them out. You want to let this, basically, all we're going to do now is we're going to let this meat cool down until you can shred it apart with your hands and then chop it up. Again, it's fully cooked, so you want to do that somewhere it's clean. And then we can go one of two ways. We can either put them in mold or stuff them into the sausage casings. I'm going to put them in a mold because I think that's going to be kind of neat. You would basically make this in your kitchen. I'll show you. So that'll be a better way for you guys to see. You can make it just with kitchen supplies. Shred them apart and chop them up. Those are the next steps. All right, guys. So these have been cooling down for a little bit, and yeah, they just fall right off that bone. Easy peasy. So we got the cooking step right there. Don't want any bones in there though. So we'll just separate all that off. Don't want that the heavy collagen. I anticipate that would be chewy no matter what, but there's a nice clean bone. That's where you get all the flavor from, is that the bones. That pork marrow's in there, it'll be delicious. So there it is, guys. Now following the book, you would chop the leaner pieces into kind of larger chunks, but they basically just shred, so I'm just going to leave them in shredded chunks. And if there's really fatty stuff, if you were using a pork butt, let's say you couldn't get your hand on some hocks, you'd want to chop that fat up so it's really fine, so you get something really kind of chewy in there. But I'm just going to I think I'm just going to shred this all. And like I said, we're going to put it into a mold. So I just have like a little baking pan, which was supplied to me by Cody Jackson, one of the guys that helps me at the shop here, the main man. So I just got it all shredded here. Still a little bit steamy, still a little bit warm, because it says it's easiest to do it whilst warm, and it is. Look at that, kind of looks like some pulled pork. All right, we do have spices mixed up for this, so I'm just gonna add it on to my pork right now. It can be a low sodium product, but if you want, you don't have to use much salt. There we go. Mix that into there. That smells good. Pop it in my little mold. Whoops. Oh, this is going to be the perfect amount, perfect size. Things are perfect. Gotta like it. In the pan now, I'm just going to put some of this, which I hope is going to coagulate up when it gets cold, into here. Ooh boy. And I'm going to spill a lot. Just enough to cover it. There we go. Kind of work that out so there's no little air bubbles in there. And I got a feeling that's just the perfect amount there, guys. Voila. Soon to be city head cheese. I'm going to let this cool down a little bit more before I pop it in the fridge, but then I'm going to pop it in the fridge, and if we've done it correctly, it should solidify and we should have sliceable head cheese. So in the fridge it goes. I'll give you guys an update in a couple hours. All right, guys, so it's the next day. Our city head cheese has cooled down in the mold. A little bit of fat along the top, but you can see some of the little bits of pork hock that have cooled down. So hopefully you can pop him out of here pretty easily. I did run a little hot water along the outside. Voila. head cheese. And it smells good. I'll bring you guys in so you can see the first cut. Should be sliceable head cheese. There we go, guys. So we got coagulation. It held its shape. We'll see if we can get a slice out of this. Yes, if we very gently cut. City head cheese. Look at that. Yummy, cool. See how those pieces of meat are suspended in the gelatin? I'm glad I put a little bit of gelatin in. I was really curious to know if I would have got enough out of those pork hocks without the skin on them there. But you can see that stuff just floating away in the gelatin. So I'll slice a bit off the back end here, guys. And let me tell you how it is. Oh man, that is so good. On a piece of toast? Yes, sir. So good, guys. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. This is the City Head Cheese from home production of quality meats and sausage by Adam and Stanley Marianski. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll be doing another one tomorrow.